I started permaculture, I mentioned before, because I felt trapped in a life that I didn't really want. But at this point, the momentum was already created. I couldn't just step out of it. Permaculture drew a whole bunch of connections for me, and it showed me that I already had the tools, you know? I just maybe wasn't using them together, or even I was thinking about everything being separate in my life and nothing really connecting. And once those connections happened, I realized how much power I do have to change momentum, you know? Even if it's just going to work 9 to 5 every day and having something that fuels me outside of that, you know? Something to be proud of. It's something to take your friends through your yard and say, look what's going on in my yard. It doesn't look like your typical landscape deal. There's so much more life in it, right? It's people that spend thousands of dollars in landscaping every year, and all they get is a bunch of annuals that look pretty, you know? And then to take that a step further and say, okay, I'm going to do a design for it. It's going to be beautiful in the end. You're not going to have to input, but it's going to provide for you. And it's not just going to be about fruit trees and berries and carrots. It's about the flowers too, you know? You bring that all together with that biodiversity and it looks beautiful. I mean, some people like lines, they like symmetry, they like things like that look controlled and specific and structured, right? But you can still get that feeling from random chaos and diversity, you know? But it has to be consistent throughout everything. From just hearing about permaculture and thinking it was like the new religion or something like that, but then actually taking the course and realizing that it's just a way of looking at things, you know? And everything that you do to survive and everything you do for a living and everything even that you like to do for fun all has a purpose and a place in your life. And if you're creative, you can bring it all together. You can go to work every day eventually maybe, and it doesn't feel like work, but it provides for you, right? You don't have to be rich, you just have to be happy and content. I had a lawn. I used to have 2 dogs. The dogs took care of the lawn, so I decided to raise beds. I could have garden without the dogs really doing anything to that. We started with perennials. The biggest part of our perennials are kind of hand-me-down type deal, which kind of means a lot to us, you know? Whether there's reality in it at all, the emotional and the spiritual connection with taking something like that from a grandparent and keeping it alive is awesome. When I decided I was going to build a greenhouse after a huge hail event, which decimated everything in our yard. It was like somebody took a shotgun and just started blasting apart plants, which is also how it felt like, you know? We're 2 weeks from harvest, and it was intense. It's even hard to think about it now, you know? So I'm like, that's it, building a greenhouse. All my in-laws think, they picture this little glass house or whatever. They come over, they're like, wow, it's like a garage, right? But I was never gonna come home and see that again, you know? Come on, hail, bring it. Springs pull it close when it cools down, which has caused the climate inside to stay way more consistent, you know? Most of the materials are found or traded for. When you're looking at your plants every day, you notice when you've done something that's making a difference. Our idea as a family is we want to can whatever comes out of the greenhouse and make it store for the winter, right? So we've got cucumbers in here, we've got peppers, and we've got tomatoes, and we've got all our herbs. And those are the things that we use the most. So those are the things we decided to protect. So I got the hammock here. I'm going to lay in here in January. And whatever it takes to get to that point, I'll do it. I just see myself in here with my cerveza, pretending I'm on the beach. Because everybody wants rules. Everybody wants you to give them a recipe, how to do something, so that they can follow a step-by-step thing and check it off, right? And it really limits people with what they can do, you know? And putting something in your garden that doesn't feed you, that looks beautiful, is just as important as the things that do feed you, you know? Or a stone, or a crystal, or some sort of ornament you picked up somewhere, or some handprint that your kid made sometime, you know? Because when you walk in your garden, you connect with it emotionally. you're really present, you're really paying attention to the plants. You notice the changes because it's someplace you want to keep revisiting because of how it makes you feel. So all those things are relevant and important. And whether if there's anything real in it or it just affects my heart, it doesn't matter, you know? Yeah, it's just a total evolution. And it doesn't matter what you do, a garden goes through a process every year. And it doesn't actually start to feel like a garden until the third year. You know, it still feels new. A garden to look a certain way realizes after a while that, no, diversity is beautiful. I don't have to have lines. I do have way more freedom, or there's way more space that I could be growing in, you know?
And literally, we're
Each
standing
individual piece.
on a whole bunch of rocks and a whole bunch of water under. It overflows up here, it goes down, and goes all the way back.
For my first class, I had 5 people, and I almost let that discourage me, but you know, those 5 people are, one of them was my dad. He's the manager at the Millville racetrack, maintenance manager, and I remember him last year saying that he was going to round up the racetrack, like where they actually race the horses, right? Because he had thistle like crazy, and I told him, well, just get a goat. Like, where's he gonna go? Let him go around and eat all that stuff. That wasn't good for him. Nope, gotta round up. So he took my class. He's like, I guess I gotta find out someplace to get this round up to, you know? Like, to see my dad do a flip 180, awesome. A lot of people don't know where to begin, but it's easy to get people excited. And once people start seeing the philosophy, they realize how much it already does apply to their life. And how and the little things that they already kind of figured out on their own, but they didn't have some sort of frame or description for it. You know, now they do. They connect their own dots, right? Rob's course was the thing that helped me draw those connections. Once people see that it's not about gardening, it's not about farming, it's not about all those things that they thought it was about, when it's about them and how to make them a more effective person at what they love to do, then, I mean, all the walls come down. You see connections everywhere, you see patterns everywhere, or even pointing out patterns in nature and realizing that you've walked by that your whole life and never noticed it, and how much sense that makes. Most of the people in our PDC still have a relationship. We still hang out. We took, of course, it was, 6 weekends together, and I've done courses before and never talked to anybody again. But we all have started functioning together as a team, which is totally inspiring. Everybody's committed to this lateral movement that affects the planet. It's pretty awesome. I don't have to make my own mistakes. I mean, I will make a fair share of them, but there's a whole bunch that have already been made for me. I need to be like a good kid and learn from my parents' mistakes. Humans are the only creatures that work. Every other species on the planet just lives. So what's the point of trying to steer, you know? It's just, I think it's the intent of our heart. As long as we're true to it all the time, we'll end up in the place that we need to be. But from a position where I'm trying to transition from what I do for a living now in a 9-to-5, which doesn't increase any momentum inside me, to being able to go out and do something that I love to do, that just makes me feel totally exhilarated, and still at the end of the day be able to pay your bills. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So at the beginning of the year there, Rob Davis had been touching base with a client, somebody that wanted to do a site consultation with him. It just made sense to him to pass it off to me. And he passed it off to me, and I found out like what this is. Like, oh my God. Meeting up with Dr. Curtis, where he's got patients that are coming in, and he's almost getting tired of patching people up and sending them back on their way to keep their process of poor health, poor habits moving, and the whole meantime affecting our earth in a negative way. For him to be motivated to stop just putting band-aids on people and use his resources to help them fix their life, it's totally inspiring. It's totally awesome. His vision is from a health retreat standpoint, where he brings people in he's certified to do this process where he removes people's heavy metals from their body, right? The heavy metal burden. And then he wants to be able to create a place where once the person is on the mend and healing, he shows them how to garden. He shows them how to prepare the food. He shows them how beneficial and how important it is to prepare your own local food. He wants to take the excuse out of the equation with people that say, I don't have time, I don't have room, whatever. He wants to have some sort of area of his property that's a mocked up apartment that's growing food. The whole farm is going to be have water harvesting solutions, ponds and dams. It's going to have multifunctional windbreaks with like food growing in them. It's going to have paths everywhere. He wants people to be able to walk and learn as they go. And then to open the doors for everybody else to come and enjoy the place and to bring abundance in their own way. Totally inspiring. So I've seen it from that end, a place where people come and learn the lost skills. You know, the lost skills of gardening, farming, foraging, hunting, meat cutting, preserving, and even cooking. While they're learning, they're contributing to the labor that's required to run that farm, you know? And it increases the abundance and increases the momentum on the property. So he wants to demonstrate the same thing from a whole other area that I never would have even thought. So we're still figuring out how it comes together, but I'm pretty inspired, pretty motivated, and there's so much room out there. So much room, and it's a pristine landscape. It's not unhealthy. When I'm putting stuff in the ground, it's not because I'm trying to fix a degraded landscape. All I'm doing is trying to increase the momentum of the landscape and decrease the effects that we're going to have as he moves in, as we start developing buildings and stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow.
So many people are hungry for this.